Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello. Welcome to the program. It is the 15th of November. It is a Tuesday, which means it's Tuesday, and my sister joins us from Chicago. Hello, Suze.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Well, I was walking my dog this morning and thinking, I'm so glad I live in Chicago where I can honestly smile at the people that I met.
Yeah, you live in one of the few states where you can, well, and in fact, you don't know how people voted, but at least, right.
The odds are in my favor.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that, I've been walking around here for a year, and, we just sort of nod and smile. This morning, not fewer than 4 people waved at me, even across the street.
Well, that's just, it's true. People are reaching out to each other. People need a hug.
They're being friendly, they're smiling, they're going, help.
I know.
And I just walked, I walked home and I thought, I feel better. I'm living in a place where, a nanny walked by with her baby, gave me a huge hello, and I was thinking, she's happy. She's looking at this white person that she assumes is going to be okay with her. God. It's...
What do you think about wearing the safety pin? Have you heard of it?
I wore the safety pin Friday night when I went out. I just, clipped it on my turtleneck and went out to dinner.
It certainly is a way of signaling to anybody, and it's sort of like you want to, especially to the people and groups that
marginalized, quarters of the country that is now marginalized.
Right, where you're just then saying, "Hey, I'm with you.
I'm just
don't
with
worry.
You. I'm okay. Don't worry about it." And honestly, the waitress at the restaurant leaned down as she was taking the check and whispered in my ear, "Thank you."
Aw.
That's all she said. She just said, "Thank you."
Oh, okay. So,
it
is a form of
like a namby-pamby thing, but it is a form of saying, I am not an awful person. I would not hurt you.
Right. God. So anyway, here we are. God. I don't even know where to start. Somebody emailed me the other day and said, I watched your show and you need to be careful. You're not going to make it. He said, like I was going to stroke out or something.
You were going to stroke out.
Well, but you know what? Nothing makes me get angrier or gets my blood pressure up more than anybody telling me to calm down. Do you know how that's counterproductive? Don't tell somebody who's feeling like to calm down because it makes them nuts.
Well, let me tell you the latest thing that's making me nuts. The latest thing that's making me nuts is that Trump voters and supporters are trying to claim that everything that is terrible that's happening, hate crimes and everything else, are actually Clinton people doing it, trying to make Trump people look bad.
Oh, yeah, right, sure.
And,
yeah.
This is not an isolated thing. This has now been a direct response to me more than 5 times.
So, wait a minute. So it's Clinton people putting swastikas on churches?
They call it fake hate. And guess where that comes from? Straight from a Breitbart article. It's fake hate. It is us pretending to be them doing these things.
Wow. Well, they don't care about truth or fact. That's what Breitbart is all about, what Bannon's all about. That's really, how do you fight that? How do you fight that?
Well,
the constant misinformation and disinformation and propaganda. How do you fight that?
Well, to the people that I know that have said this to me seriously and then quoted Breitbart, I just say to them clearly, if you quote Breitbart to me, you automatically lose. You find another source that backs that up. One other source that backs that up, and to suggest that what you are suggesting is not only stupid and naive and at the very least totally disingenuous. It is hate speech, and you need to own the people that you are associating with.
Yeah.
You just need to own it. Maybe you aren't a racist. Maybe you aren't an anti-Semite. Maybe you aren't, anti everybody but you. But the people that you associate with are.
And you've enabled the worst of the worst.
You've enabled the worst of the worst. And if you don't think that this is how World War II, and how Nazi Germany started, then you need to go back and look at your history. I'm not going to fall for this shit again. I'm not going to feel complacent again. I'm going to be totally on my guard, and I'm not going to let anybody say anything around me that goes, even slightly in that direction without calling them on it. Period.
I was at an ACLU event last night, and the legal director for the state gave us all here are things you can do, and one of the things he said was, it's no longer even acceptable or just to take the easy way out. Anytime you encounter or are part of a group in which something is said or something is done, you have to speak up now. You have to speak up. You cannot let the little winks and nods that you used to, you cannot let them go. If we do not now have the courage to stand up and begin to counter this, then we're in big, big trouble.
Right. And I'm not. I mean, because believe me, I got people all around me that voted for Trump.
Yeah, we all do.
And no, I'm not allowing it.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, the nicest I've been about it was when I went out to Friday night with our cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I smiled at her and I said, I love you. And I guess I'm grateful you're there, because when they come for me, I'm going to hide in your basement because you be a collaborator.
No, they'll come for her too.
Well, that's what I said.
That's what she doesn't know.
And then they'll come for you too. So I hope you feel comfortable about that. And I said the same thing to my nephew on my husband's side. I'll come hide in your basement. And he responded with, and I'll protect you with my Second Amendment gun.
Well, that's sort of cute.
Yeah, it was. I said, thank you.
Okay. So, speaking of Breitbart, I'm assuming people have seen, has anyone dared to, you got to go look at the site. I mean, this is now the chief strategist for the soon-to-be president of the United States. This is his baby. And as the New York Times put it today, to scroll through Breitbart headlines is to come upon a parallel universe where black people do nothing but commit crimes, where immigrants do nothing but rape native-born daughters.
Where women are dykes.
That's right, where feminists are dykes and want to castrate all men. And then they just put up some of the, headlines, such as, hoisted high and proud, the Confederate flag proclaims a glorious heritage. That, by the way, was a headline that ran just 2 weeks after Dylan Roof shot up and killed all those people in a black church in Charleston. Here's another one. Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy. Here's another Breitbart headline. This is so despicable. Gabby Giffords, the gun control movement's human shield.
It's so totally despicable.
And here's Breitbart himself saying this. I want to bring everything crashing down. That's a direct quote. Here's another one. Let the grassroots turn on the hate, because that's the only thing that will make them do their duty. What
right.
the hell?
And by the way, here's another suggestion for something that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a message for Paul Ryan. Here's his phone number, 202-225-3031. Or Mitch McConnell. Here's his phone number, 202-224-2541.
All right, Suze, you're going to
And
do
ask
that.
them
Wait.
to
Just do those again.
Okay, Paul Ryan, area code 202-225-3031. Mitch McConnell is area code 202-224-2541. And ask them to denounce the appointment of Steve Bannon.
Okay.
It'll inundate their voicemail. They'll have to log your call. It'll take 5 minutes of our day, and it'll screw them up really well. It'll make their voice. We need to make it clear.
Yeah.
So this is something everybody can do.
Do you know what Glenn Beck called Bannon a terrifying man?
Well, Glenn Beck actually, halfway through the election,
sort of came around
to our side.
How is that?
Because apparently there was a shred of decency in him.
At base, he all of a sudden thought, I'm on the wrong side.
Oh, my God, he thought.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
But that started towards the end of the election. He was denouncing and everything else. So. But
tell me what Republican office holders in Washington have spoken up so far to denounce the appointment of Bannon. You got any?
None.
That's
not
correct.
a one. I haven't heard any. Have you heard any?
No. And wow.
And I want these court cases against Trump to just move ahead. I mean, what's the IRS been doing for all this time? Either he declared that $960 billion loss or $1 million loss as income before he took it as a loss, or he didn't. It's as clear-cut as it can be. Either he did or he didn't.
He's going to be running the IRS, though, Susan.
Well, sorry, that's in progress. Those things are already. I mean, and his Trump University thing is lawsuit is in the pipeline. So that needs to move forward. We need to hold our president accountable for following the laws of the land that he supposedly espouses. He's the leader of this country. He needs to follow the laws.
Who was it? Who was it? Was it under Bush W that they said the law doesn't apply to? Who said that? Some president or some guy?
The law does apply to the president, and I'll point out Richard Nixon as an example of that.
Yeah, right. Okay, we got a call. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This is your friend Larry.
Okay. Hi, Larry.
Hi. And I wanted to make a comment about why we're not hearing voices being talked about all these people. They don't want to be put on a list because they're list makers.
Well, yeah, Kellyanne Conway has actually said they're keeping a list.
Right.
Well, Newt Gingrich has come right out and said,
yeah, Gingrich too, right?
Gingrich, that we know who you are and we'll take you down. He's just said it. He said it about his fellow Republicans.
Right. That's why.
Such courage.
Nobody's saying anything.
I see. Such courage.
Yeah, right.
Beyond belief.
It is.
Well, I wanted to let you know something. So after Hitler finally got power in 1930, they have Goebbels' diary. And in 1933, he, in his diary, said he was surprised to see all these ex-opponents of theirs so quickly sucking up to them after they got power. He thought it was funny.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
We're already seeing that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hang in there.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. You too.
I'll try.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
especially all of these people that claim to be God-fearing religious
Ugh.
people. That even if that I disagree with where that stance might lead them in terms of women's rights and other things, I would be respectful of their true belief in God and their church's teaching. Well, their churches teach a lot of things that they're just kicking to the curb right now. And I'm gonna, I think we all need to be vigilant and start calling, start writing.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, really,
Now is the time for action, not sitting, not doing anything.
Don't ask what you can do. There's all sorts of easy things that you can do.
Right.
And at the minimum is speak up.
So Celine just told me this morning, I hope you don't mind, Celine, that she just became a monthly donor to Planned Parenthood. That's something you can do, right? Because the threat to women's right to have probably any control of their bodies under this crowd is palpable. I mean, they flat out said it. That's where they're heading.
Are you tempted to go to Washington on inaugural day and join the million?
Not I. Suze, I've been to so many marches in D.C.
Yeah.
and it's time for the young ones that don't have bad knees and ankles to do it. I don't want to do it. I also think it's very sort of malformed at this point, and they don't even have I was reading from the Washington Post that now it's going to be called the Women's March on Washington, although some people are calling it the Million Women's March, and some people are calling it the Nasty Women March, and some people are saying that it's not an anti-Trump rally, and some people are saying, it says right here, the message of the march is still being honed, and it will not be an anti-Trump rally. Instead, the march will serve to amplify the voices of women and minorities. Well, I got to tell you, if it ain't an anti-Trump rally, I wouldn't go.
Right. I mean,
what is that? Who's saying that? That's the organizer.
And whose voice? Who is it that's shutting up that's attempting to shut down our voices? If it's not Trump. Why is it suddenly that we have why is the First Amendment suddenly gone? Why do we not have a right to protest? I mean, I understand that this man is my president. He is, but that doesn't mean that I like him, accept him, agree with him, do anything.
Right.
It's a sad fact that he is my president, and that means that I need to start talking. I need to stand up and be counted.
That is the patriotic thing to do.
It is the patriotic thing to do. I need to defend my Constitution against this insurgent force, and that's who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is not. Someone wrote from the Philadelphia Daily News. A guy named Will Bunch wrote a piece that I thought was wonderful, and he has a hashtag. It's hashtag not normal. And that is something that I am going to hang on to for the next 4 years. This is not a normal transition of power. This is not a normal administration that we see taking form. So many things here are not normal, and we cannot fall into a sense that it is. Donald Trump is the most unqualified person to ever serve in this office. This is not normal.
And, I mean, who would have thought that he could make W sound articulate?
You know, I was thinking the same thing, but I was also thinking, what is it with Republicans that they nominate and win with?
Stupidity.
Inarticulate, people who cannot put a sentence together. We Democrats, we're always putting out these erudite blah, blah, blah. And, turns out that's not the way the people talk.
No, it offends people.
It offends people. They think you're talking down to them.
Right.
Right.
Well, Trump can't act. I don't think his mind is capable of holding on to his thought from the beginning of a sentence to the end. And as someone that frequently runs into that, but usually can get out a whole sentence, I'm shocked. He can't. If you listen to him talk, he can't get 2 words out.
No, you can't diagram his sentences because they aren't. Yeah, it's true. On the way here, I was listening to Barack Obama speaking in Athens at a press conference with the Greek prime minister, and he was saying, and we spoke of this and the need to that, and he was talking about specific kinds of policies that only would be the conversation you would have with the Greek prime minister or president. I'm not sure what his title is. And I'm thinking, can you imagine Donald Trump in this situation?
He's not going to do it.
He doesn't know. He wouldn't be able. He's going to have to bring along Charlie McCarthy to sit on his knee, or actually he'll be sitting on Charlie's knee. Somebody is going to have to do all of his speaking for him. He doesn't know anything, and he won't learn anything. Yeah, but I got to tell you again. The news media, right away, they're doing it already. It's why I cannot watch television at all anymore, not any television news. They have immediately starting to cover this as they would cover any other administration, and they are rapidly normalizing
this hate speech.
Yeah. Or they're not even called. Do you see now they don't even really ever call they don't call Bannon a racist or an anti-Semite. They say, critics say.
Critics say, right. And did you read New York Times apology and the comments to their apology? Boy, did that not work.
No.
New York Times wrote that, they're sorry they got it so wrong and blah, 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 and they will, they hold on to their tradition of blah, 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 blah. And, there were just thousands of comments, all of which said, start reporting. Stop going off. And if you had spent any time talking about policy instead of emails.
Oh.
But, shame on all of media. Shame on them.
I agree. Hey, we got a call. Hello?
Hello, Lynn.
Yes.
The Democrats, why do they always go with, you go back in history, other than Obama, like Mondale, the caucus, Al Carter, he was a little different, but these people they pick, and Kerry, Gore.
They go with cerebral.
The establishment status quo.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't a bad word, establishment. But they don't go with stars, and we live in an entertainment culture now, and as frightening as it is, Trump may have shown us that you can't win unless you are, in some regards, a star.
I swear, Oprah for president.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. God help us. We're going to have to, it's going to be, Tom Hanks for president.
But I'm wondering who they're going to pick next. Elizabeth Warren would be good, but...
No, she's the same.
The status quo.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know. I was thinking today, I don't really even consider myself a Democrat anymore.
Well,
that party does not speak for me. So I'm just another disillusioned, independent American voter. The party is constituted and has, for some time, not represented me very well. So we're all pretty much free agents.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. So, This Will Bunch says, be wary of compromise. And in this pre-presidency, do not normalize any of this. Because when one of your first two hires is a white nationalist, this is hashtag not normal.
And even if you want to, I don't, but even if you want to debate that, you can't deny that the KKK is thrilled that all the leaders of, and I'm not going to call it the ALT,
the alt-right, and that's the other. Susan, why do the media call it the alt-right? That's what Bannon wants it to be called.
Yeah,
why would you do?
Why don't we just call them what they are and what they've always been? A band of racists, a band of anti-Semites,
or at the very least, alt-right. They're white nationalists. That's as clean as you can get it. They are for white people. That's all they are about. That's as much of a euphemism as I will allow. But if you read the New York Times and you read the Washington Post and you listen to anything, all of them have taken on the verbiage of the haters, and they're calling these people alt-right.
Well, that's how we got pro-life, as if you and I aren't for life.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that anymore.
I'm not either.
I don't accept those terms.
No. And don't say them on my show. I'll correct you every time, because I ain't going to use those words, alt-right, whatever the fuck that means.
No, don't.
And you know what? You know what we're going to see? The fact that Trump has already tweeted since his election, in the manner he tweeted as a candidate, it bodes very ill, because he had this one tweet where he said the New York Times was he's going after the Times. He's trying to take the Times down, and as president, he'll be able to do this a lot better. He says his tweet was, "Wow. The New York Times is losing thousands of subscribers because of their very poor and highly inaccurate coverage of the Trump phenomena."
Well, actually, what's happening is the same thing that's happening with Planned Parenthood.
They're gaining.
They're gaining.
So that's a lie. So that's the president-elect tweeting out again. A lie. A total lie. The opposite of what's happening. And he has said he will continue to tweet. If he is attacked as president, he will use his ability to talk back. We are going to have the first Twitter president. That's all. He's just going to tweet. God effing help us. We got a call. Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
It's Bill, a longtime listener and actually first-time.
Woo!
I just calling to thank you. I'm now a member of the ACLU.
Then let me thank you. Let me thank you. Thank you.
That needs to be said, not only by you, and please say that every day.
Okay.
Join something. Spend your money. Stop your fucking bitching. Every time you want to bitch, you have to send $1 somewhere.
Exactly.
So.
Good for you.
If you could please, not only encourage everyone to send money to these organizations because they need them. They need it to fight. But we all need to go to Washington the day after this stupid inauguration.
You think?
Yes. We have to shut that city down.
Well, I was just, I don't know if you heard, I was just concerned about who's organizing this, because there was a Washington Post article today that said that the organizer said it's not an anti-Trump rally. Do you know that?
Well,
No,
whoever that organizer is doesn't speak for me.
Well, it's a pro-woman rally. I know that.
No, they're saying men welcome. But, I mean, why are these people all coming? What are we saying? Shouldn't a march have a specific point to make?
And shouldn't it be after Trump, if Trump is after you?
Well, my plan is to go there to support women.
Okay.
And, because that's what I thought this march was about.
Well, so it's funny, though. People going. I know I have friends who are going. And I guess if enough of us who think it's anti-Trump, it'll be an anti-Trump rally.
Exactly. I'm a gay man.
Uh-huh.
I'm not really afraid for myself, but I know gay people that are afraid.
Sure. Sure.
But I spent a week crying. I've read posts on Facebook saying, to our right-wing friends, to our Republican relatives, please let us know that you aren't racist and hold these people accountable to it. We can't depend on them. This is war. We have to draw the line.
Exactly right. Thank you.
And to all of your listeners, everyone that you know, hold them accountable. Every time they bitch, what have you done to further our cause? Because you could just get caught up in a bitch circle.
Yeah.
Right.
You're absolutely right. Again, this ain't normal, guys.
No, this ain't normal. Get angry.
Yeah. Right. And don't tell me not to be. Thank you.
Get angry, stay angry, and shut anyone down that says anything different.
Right. Good for you. Thank you so much.
You have been really a true source of inspiration, and I know this is hard for you, but please know that you are doing great, great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you, Lynn.
I love you too.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Well, that was a very nice call. But really, there's a whole list of places and ways to, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It could be $1, a month. Who cares? But the Southern Poverty.
You know what? They're one I know, Suze. I saw.
They got enough. Right?
Well, I had a nice email from someone today who said he had joined the ACLU, not this last caller, but somebody else, and I appreciated it. And he said, next, I think I'll give to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I understand the desire because we used to give to them as well. Now, the reason I stopped giving to them is not because I don't support their work, but I did a little, I went and did some research. And the Southern Poverty Law Center has a huge, huge, huge endowment. They are sitting on a ton of money. They don't need your money. They could use, your emotional support and everything. There are other organizations that I would give money to that aren't as rich as the Southern Poverty. Check it out yourself, but that was my...
Okay, so Planned Parenthood and the ACLU.
Those are my two babes. Okay, we got a call. Hello? Hello, caller? Hello? Okay, toodles.
Call back.
Okay, so the FBI has released statistics saying attacks against Muslim Americans are surging. Attacks against transgender people sharply increasing. We have a call again. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Susan.
Hello.
I was just racked with a certain amount of shame over the weekend that I hadn't done something more prior to the election, scraped together a little more money to donate, persuaded more people to vote for Hillary Clinton. Perhaps I was a bit more lulled than I should have been, particularly after the conventions and after the debates.
So what are you doing now? Because that doesn't...
As soon as I have regular gainful employment again, I, of course, will be joining the ACLU.
Great.
I'll be doing my best to oppose this unfolding waking nightmare in every way I can. Honestly, I expect to wake up at some point.
I know, but...
This insanity, this absurdity.
I know, it is like it. We're in a nightmare. We're in a nightmare.
Well, we woke up in Nazi Germany.
This man he has no policies. He's a kook and a fool. And any Republican victory would have damaged our country. Any Republican victory, because they had complete control of the House and Senate and the Supreme Court. The only thing that would have mitigated would have been Democratic control of the Senate. I'm thinking about what has been rewarded in this election, by this election. The Republican nihilism, the outrageous act of constitutional abrogation of their duties by refusing to seat a Supreme Court justice for 9 months, denying the president his powers for 9 months, keeping the court one short for 9 months, one short as defined by congressional law.
Any Democratic senator who votes yay on any nomination proffered by the new president is somebody I will not support in any way. I would be just as recalcitrant and obstructionist as the people who now have the power.
The behavior of this moral cretin, this shameless liar, a crooked chiseler, the behavior of the FBI. Data analysts are now looking at this. People like Nate Silver and Sam Wang and others, and coming to the conclusion that James Comey's interference likely cost Hillary Clinton the election.
Well, all that is,
interference. The Russian officials have now confirmed they were in constant contact with the Trump administration.
That is true. All that is true. It's true. It's true. It's true. Americans, guess what? Didn't give a shit.
No.
Okay?
Their president is a collaborator with the enemy.
I had a conversation online, Trump supporter, yesterday. And I'm going to refrain from this because, first of all, it does no goddamn good because I can put the facts out there as much as I want, as I did in the months preceding the election, and it does no goddamn good. And she admitted that he said and acted in outrageous ways,
right,
offensive ways,
yeah,
and made promises she knows he couldn't keep.
Right.
But he just did that to win the election, and she doesn't really think he's an evil man. He doesn't really mean he's not really going to do all that and enact all that. And my response to her was, so you were willing to support someone who is either a wretched person because he believes that, despite what you think, or is an absolutely wretched person because he's willing to do and say anything to get elected. Not just pander, as most politicians do, not just make the few promises we all know they can't fulfill within given political opposition and the kind of deals that need to be cut. No. You were willing to support someone who, in either regard, is wretched.
Yeah.
It
all right.
doesn't matter to you.
All right. All right. But this is all water under the bridge, over the bridge, over the dam, under the bridge. I always get those mixed up. Yeah. Okay. Hey, John, I'm going to say to you what I told nobody to say to me. Relax a little bit. I mean,
we need to live through this.
Yeah, we need to live through this.
Because we'll need your vote in 2 more years.
Yeah.
And by the way,
I've got to cultivate some kind of mental shield against seeing anyone from him or his administration.
I know.
So
I
already signed the petition. Steve Bannon cannot be allowed to serve in the White House.
Okay, not normal.
Trump's children. He's asking for them to have security clearance.
National security clearance for his kids.
It's a kook.
I know.
He can't have those in them running his business.
All right. Okay. John.
What about, let's just throw one more in there that can't be normalized. He's considering that redneck black sheriff.
Yeah, from Milwaukee. I know. Look, you look at the people he's considering for anything. Rudy Giuliani's going to be the Secretary of effing State. Can you imagine? He's talking about, what's his name? Who's the idiot neurosurgeon? He's talking about him.
Carson.
Secretary of Education. Listen.
Can I say one more thing?
Very quickly, please.
Yeah. Because guess what? They did make a difference. Not enough of them did come home. To all the Bernie supporters who either didn't cast a ballot to the top of the ticket or voted for Stein or Johnson or even Trump, fuck you all.
Okay, goodbye.
Your purity wasn't worth it.
Okay, bye. I hear you. I'm with you.
Yeah, well, listen, we got...
It's over. It's over.
But,
okay.
But today, or the day after the election, our mission was pretty clear, and that's to go to start local. If you can't open your eyes and look up at the White House, good. Start local. Start reorganizing your districts. Start identifying, grooming, and getting ready to elect now.
The people who are going to, yeah, right.
We need to change the Congress, and let me tell, and that we can do, but we have to start work now. We can't wait till a year from now or a year and a half from now. We have to start now,
right?
And that makes a real difference. It's something we can do. This is terribly important, and I know it's difficult because, yes, the Republicans have already gerrymandered all those districts, but when Carrier still goes to Mexico, when the factory next door still goes to Mexico,
and the steel mills don't come back,
and the jobs don't come back, and when those people realize that they were had, their votes are up for grabbing, and that's 2 years.
Right.
So get to work. You stop crying. Get to work.
Right. Thank you, Susan. And I just want to say this. When John was speaking, I was thinking it's too bad he's unemployed right now, so he doesn't have any money to do this. But if for the people who are feeling such anxiety, it did occur to me to go. Remember Dr. Stiles, Suze?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling he called me the other day, and this is what he's suggesting. Not just that people remember that hypnosis can do wonderful things like reduce anxiety. And it can. I'm just saying, it can. And Dr. Stiles is a hell of a hypnotist, having been hypnotized twice by him and also by other people. I can rate him. He's absolutely excellent. And Dr. Stiles is available for that if you need it. However, if you need the usual reasons people go to hypnotists, if you need to stop smoking, if you need to lose weight, all of that he is more than capable of, since I have personally been able to experience his great hypnotic abilities. Understand, he is a truly trained hypnotist. There are a lot of wannabes and yahoos out there who say they're hypnotists. Don't get had. Go to the real deal. Check him out on Dr. B for Bill Stiles with an I.com. drbstiles.com. Give him a call at 724-656-0454. That's 724-656-0454. And remember that anxiety and stress do bad things to your body. So it's best to try to get them under control. Dr. Stiles can help you with that. I know. Just saying. And, Susan, don't know if you saw the science section today. They actually have a piece that is headlined, Breathe, Exhale, Repeat. And it's a story about controlled breathing.
Right, which, by the way, is extremely helpful. I use it all the time.
And you know what? If you go to Dr. Stiles or any hypnotist, do you know how the whole thing starts?
With controlled breathing. Exactly.
Controlled breathing. And science, ancient people knew this for a long time, but science is just beginning to provide evidence of the benefits of this ancient practice of simply breathing in a conscious way. It can reduce anxiety, insomnia, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, attention deficit disorder. It's meditation for people who can't meditate. Just breathe.
It's meditation by a different name, because at least you can concentrate on how you inhale.
Exactly.
And how long.
How long.
Exhale.
And
exhale.
Here's what they say. I'm just
really important.
Right. Well, so let me just tell you how they say do it. For those of you, take this in. It's called coherent breathing. What you're trying to get to, and you might not get there for a little while, is to breathe at a rate of 5 breaths per minute, which generally translates into inhaling and exhaling to the count of 6. And if you've never done this kind of thing before, it might just be initially a count of 3, and you'll work your way up. And here's how they do it. You can be sitting upright or ideally lying down. You put your hands on your belly, slowly breathe in, and your belly should then expand up. Breathe in to the count of 5. Pause, that's 6. And then exhale for 6. And then do it again, over and over. They say 10 minutes of this a day can make a huge difference. Okay?
And by the way, just in case you don't think it's meditational, do the counting, because that's your mantra.
That's the mantra, 1, 2, right. So it'll keep your head from maybe wandering off. Just stay with the breath and your numbers. And it is, I mean, I do it myself. I actually did it yesterday afternoon because I was, and it does. Almost immediately what happens is when your brain realizes that you're doing this slow breathing, your brain gets the message that everything is pretty good. And it activates the parasympathetic response that puts out all this good stuff. I mean, the brain will get the breathing and then respond in a positive way as well. Try it.
And women know this. I mean, there's a reason when you're in labor, you practice, you go into it having practiced your breathing, because it does all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It controls pain. It does make the body relax so that your muscles relax, so that you can give birth. I mean, breathing is used in all sorts of different things.
Exactly.
So it's free. Use it.
Use it. Guys, we all got to be doing this. Just 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, whatever. Beth writes, Lynn, before even hearing Susan, I called and left a message for Paul Ryan. Mitch McConnell's office number is busy and not taking calls. I've also called Casey and Toomey's offices and got the usual, I'll pass along your message. I am sure they're afraid because of the way the state voted. Both our senators are real profiles in courage, not. Thinking of getting my Trump-supporting in-laws an ACLU membership for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
Isn't that a good idea?
I think I'll do the same.
Okay, good idea. That's a good idea. And Beth said she and her wife signed up last week. And Beth says this, Susan, I'm not sure if I understand. I get the gist of it, but I'm not quite. She says, also, in listening to Susan, she gives the best coach speech with a capital C.
No, well, she's saying that it's I'm giving you a locker room, get out there,
a good pep talk
speech. Thank you very much. It's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell us we can do this. I'm trying to tell us that it's no time to sit down. It's time to stand up and fight back.
That's right. Susan, though, Ruth in Greenfield says she called McConnell, and all she got was a message that told her the hours they are there, tells you they're busy, and then disconnects you.
Well, that just means they're flooded with calls. Try tomorrow. Try the next day. Keep going. Don't give up that easily.
No, you can't. You just have to. We gotta just stay on them. Chuck says that Bernie Sanders was on Colbert last night, and he said this. And Sanders said, now that the Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, the White House, the Supreme Court, Jesus, we need to keep a close watch on their efforts to change the rules. so that they never ever lose an election again.
Right. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Right, because they're good at rigging stuff, as we know.
Well, that's why the filibuster.
That's right.
Is our only tool that we have.
Well,
left.
they'll take that away. Right. So Sanders said that every single bill, every single amendment is suspect. He said, if you think redistricting and gerrymandering in the past decade was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And by the way, I don't know if anybody is watching Colbert because he was so boring for the first year. But start watching him again.
He's got his feet under him, yeah.
He was deadly. I mean, if they're going to come for people, he's number one on the list. He was merciless. And it's not all funny. It's just deadly.
He couldn't be funny anymore.
Well, he's being funny again, but in a really spot-on manner. Very seriously funny, and I highly recommend we keep his ratings up.
Okay. I want to, before things get away from us, I do want to note the surprising and awful passing of Gwen Ifill. That was, when I saw that on my Twitter yesterday afternoon, it was like a kick in the gut because I can't take any more loss right now.
No, I was out with my daughter and I was just checking messages and I saw that and I gave this audible, gasp and moan, and my daughter, had an immediate flight response. She said, "What? What happened? What's going?" And I told her, and she said, "You have to stop making that noise."
Because it scares her. It scares her.
It terrifies her.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt about. Because I had no idea. Because
we didn't know.
No, well, she, like my husband, worked right up until the end.
Right. That's correct.
So I'm glad that she was able to live with her illness until it took her.
Jeez.
But 61 years old for somebody that
wondrous.
That wondrous.
That
bright and that articulate.
David Brooks, his entire column in the New York Times is about her today because he was a true friend of hers, and also appeared on Washington Week in Review, so they worked together.
Right.
And just a few things. He said she was just amazing, but he says, by 2012, she sensed that racial ugliness was coming out into the open. She began getting more racist reactions on social media. And she moved to support her friend, Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic magazine, who was getting anti-Semitic ones. "Keep your head down and keep writing," she urged Goldberg. "It's what they don't want you to do." Gwen, says Brooks, knew what was coming. And he says, "I confess when I looked at the front of the New York Times website on Monday and saw a photo of Stephen Bannon on leave from Breitbart as chairman and rising in power, and then underneath it a photo of Gwen, who is passing from this world, I wanted to throw up." Gwen Ifill, who Susan, I saw this about her too, which is a riot. Her name was Gwendolyn L. Ifill. She loathed her middle name and refused to reveal it. Wow.
What do you think it was?
Jeez, it must have been really horrific. I don't know. What would it be? It starts with an L. It could be a million things. Gwendolyn L. Ifill, and no one knows.
Well, let's respect her wishes.
And
Ida.
Yeah, right. And so, she so I didn't realize how young she was. I mean, she's been around for so long. She was moderating presidential debates over 10 years ago. So, I mean, and in 2004 she moderated the debate in which the vice presidential debate between Dick Cheney and John Edwards. And I guess what happened is Edwards went after Cheney and Halliburton. And Cheney said to Ifill, "I can respond, Gwen, but it's going to take more than 30 seconds. "Well," said Ifill, "that's all you've got." And during that debate, she asked a question that no other moderator would have asked. She asked them about the rate of AIDS deaths among black women in America, and neither candidate had a thing to say. Blah, 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 what?
Well, yeah.
So she had...
And not on their radar.
She had courage, she had guts, and she had that temperament that if she got angry, you didn't know it. She was the smoothest, coolest cucumber, and the crap she took in her career as a woman and as a black woman is amazing. I mean, when she started out as in the photo department of a Boston newspaper, I can't remember which one, and she opens her desk drawer and there's something in there saying, "Get the hell out of here, nigger." That was her welcome. And she said she did not take it personally. Isn't that amazing? She said, "I didn't take it personally." She said, "I think I knew who had done it. It was an older man. And I just, frankly, I didn't report it. I just kept moving on." Well, yeah. That's what we do, huh?
That is what you do.
Noreen writes, "I was talking to a friend yesterday and she said she was just at the doctor for her checkup, and the doctor said her blood pressure was a little high, which was not normal for her. The doctor went on to say that she noticed that there were quite a few patients lately whose blood pressure was high and blamed it on the election."
Of course.
So take those deep, meditative breaths.
Right. We need to live to fight another day.
Yeah. And speaking of what, Gwen Ifill had to take on, the New York Times, I guess a few days ago, maybe this was Sunday, quite clearly they had done this piece assuming, I think, that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And they ran it anyway. And it was this big thing. They asked women to write in their experiences of being told things that they could not do because they were women. And I think what the Times must have been thinking, when Hillary breaks that glass ceiling, we'll talk about how this is amazing because women have been told from day one that they can't do things. And the things that people wrote in were just, boy, does it... Here, I'll give you one or two. Here's a 63-year-old woman. "I was 5 years old and in kindergarten. I was playing with a set of plastic milk bottles in a metal carrier. A boy wanted to play with them, and the teacher told me to give them to him since he was a boy and only boys could be milkmen." Here's a woman at 63. She's vividly remembers
that.
She was 5 years old. Here's another one. "In 9th grade, this woman's 54, we had to take a self-assessment for career guidance. This is 1976. I had straight A's since 4th grade. My assessment said I excelled at spatial and mechanical reasoning, math, and foreign languages. Boys with similar scores were advised to look at careers in engineering, medicine, and science. I was told I could be a stewardess, a teacher, or a bank teller." Right?
Right. Well, can I add mine?
Well, sure.
Okay, mine is about our dear
father
who loved me
right
very much.
Yes.
But when I told him I was going to law school, he
said,
"Is it something I did?" And when I showed him my resume as I applied for my first job, he said, "I wouldn't hire you."
Wait a minute, Susan. Why did he say, I know he said I wouldn't hire you. Unbelievable. But what? Jesus Christ. He is such a wonderful guy, but he was such a sexist in that. I mean, he grew up in that. Yeah.
That's when he grew up.
Well, I remember when I told him I wanted to get a job at a television station, I was thinking a reporter, he said, well, yes, I suppose you could work in the traffic department, which is, that's a clerical job that deals with where spots are placed. So that he just didn't, and why? Okay, here's a 65-year-old woman saying, in high school, I applied to be a Senate page. I can still remember my disappointment when I received the reply from Senator Hugh Scott of Pennsylvania. The girls were not permitted to serve as pages.
Senators would bonk them.
Right. I was a straight A student. I was devastated.
Yeah.
I'm getting angry all over again 50 years later as I write this. Here's another one. Oh, God, these just break your heart. 55-year-old woman, 4th grade. The teacher handed out forms for band and chorus. I was ecstatic because we had to write our top 3 picks for instruments. I chose drums 3 times. Drums, drums, drums. My band form came back with a note. Please choose again. Drums are for boys.
My honest-to-God first reaction when this happened was, and I told our mother this, that I felt the weight of millions of boots on top of my head telling me to go back where I belonged.
Yeah. Right.
And I do. I mean, that's what it felt like to me. I'm sure everybody has their own version of what it felt like to them, but that was my personal response. That the fight has to start all over again.
Yeah. Well,
it does.
Young women and girls are going to find out. They're going to be thrown back. Not as bad.
All these young women
as we
that are
were,
afraid
but
to call themselves feminists better understand what the term means now.
Yeah. Here's one. I was in 6th grade. I wanted to be a crossing guard. I was told that only boys could be crossing guards. I remember being so hurt. And here's one, Susan, with another woman and her father. She's 58 years old now. My first experience with gender inequality came from my father. We were walking through the woods when I was a junior in high school. And he asked what I wanted to study in college. I said, I want to be a forest ranger or a physician. He then explained that women needed a career only until they got married, and nursing and teaching were the only things girls could do. So I graduated from nursing school in 1980. And after my dad died in 1990, I paid for my first year of medical school with money I inherited from him. Poetic justice. Women, women
took their strength from people saying no. And that's what we all have to do and apply to this situation. I knew my dad loved me, but goddamn, I was going to prove him wrong.
That's correct. And so did I.
Yes.
And he was proud.
Pretty well at
he
it.
grew.
Proud.
He grew because we did, and he was proud. We've gone over our time, but Susan, I just want to say that Margie has written in and said Susan is awesome. Okay. Isn't that nice?
Thank you. Well, solidarity, guys. Get to work.
We got to get to work. And Susan's going to be on your ass for the next 4 years, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
2 years. 2 years.
Maybe. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, you guys. See you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.